Before, social constipation, trouble talking, political correctness, identity politics, a lot of globalist, radical left corruption of normally nice, friendly, polite liberals, and then there's friendly, polite conservatives. And they get to at least be nice and talk about things and respect each other, right? But with the globalists, super rich people who want to use international institutions to control the world, trying to use their radical activist arms and others and control the media to push radical left ideas and corrupt liberalism and attack conservatism, what ends up happening these days is they make liberals scared of conservatives while conservatives laugh at liberals. So that's partly why you see so many ugly liberals and so many good-looking conservatives, right? Part of it is conservatives try and preserve what works to make sure that, we still have it. Liberals try and make changes to make people happy. Conservatives try and preserve what works to make people happy. So in the ways of being, nice, polite Canadian ladies and gentlemen, for example, you try and preserve that. People can do other things, but you try and preserve that as an option because it always worked. It always made it easy for us to talk about things, keep a great house party going when it comes to the country and the vibe, and so on. And if people did something stupid, we could talk about it. We would stop it, right? Offline. I'm talking about in the real, not just online, offline. I'm talking about with other Canadian humans, right? So when it comes to that, what's ended up happening really fast, just in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 3, 4, 5 years, last 5 to 10 years, say, 3 to 5, 5 to 10 years. It's been getting worse faster. Is with political correctness, identity politics, so on, making it hard to talk, and social constipation, trouble talking, sort of can't talk, and gender neutralization, trouble acting like men and women. What are you supposed to do? I'm supposed to be the same. I deserve it too. Whatever. Blah, put up with me too. Whatever. Then it's all the same, right? And so it doesn't mean anything. Right? You can find someone that's less of a mess bothering people, then they're more worth bothering, but then you bother them until they have no self-respect and they're a mess bothering people. Right? So, so it becomes that. And for thousands of years, whenever there was some trouble where people lived, right? For thousands of years, if there was like an eclipse, say the moon was blocking out the sun, and everyone was like, we're all going to die, sacrifice your children, give them to the sun before the sun eats us. And someone could be like, hey, whoa, hold on, just calm down, think about it this way instead, right? It's just doing that, and we'll see, and if really bad things happening later, you think you can kill your kids to try and save, yourself or whatever stupid thing you come up with when you're all freaked out by something. But let's think about it this way, these things move, whatever, and you could say stuff. And if people were all messed up, then they could hear it, and they could think about it, and then they could pass it on, and they could tell other people, right? And so, 5,000 years ago, a guy could walk around, and be like, wait, don't sacrifice your kids because the moon's covering the sun, should be gone like in a few hours, right? Just don't worry about it, right? And you could be like, oh, and then you could go over up the street, don't do that. And it's like, what? Because you weren't acting like, you couldn't talk to each other, right? Because people are like, what? What is it? You can still read body language, right? And vibes. You can see if someone's serious or not serious. Not know they aren't serious about you, don't care about you or what you're doing, make you put up with them. You don't care about them, what they're saying, doing, make them put up with you, whatever. It wasn't like that. So for thousands of years, people could walk around and say stuff, right? And then that evolved into, say, Speaker's Corner on an apple crate in the middle of town. If you look at a movie about jolly old England or something, sometimes you'll have, from 500 or 1,000 years ago, you'll have a little box or an apple crate in the middle of town, or Speaker's Corner, a little podium, and people would go there and they would take turns, spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes talking about what's going on. Verily, here in the kingdom, it is a lovely day, but I think we need a bridge over yon thing. There are fresh berries, past that river. And if we can get to those fresh berries, we'll be happier for it. And people will be like, oh, and they start talking about it, they hear it, and then they think about it, and they can be nice to each other, and they can talk about it. And then maybe they make enough of a stink over a few months, and they could maybe, petition the king to say, can we build a bridge over that river so that we can go get those berries? We'll all be happier for it. Or whatever it is, right? Good things, bad things, they liked it. They might stand there and listen, or catch something passing by, right? If they didn't like it, they might throw rotten tomatoes or fruit at you or vegetables at you and get you off of there, moron, right? If they like it, then it's always cool. As long as you care, as long as you're cool. As long as you're not trying to bother people with how you act, then they don't care, right? Now you can still bother people with what you say, because you can talk rude too. But if you always act rude, you usually talk rude, or even if you talk nice, it's just you're acting rude, so it doesn't really, it's just bullshit, right? So, but if you're nice, then they're always cool for thousands of years, always been cool, right? Because they're like, well, whatever, like all of our favorite artists, like Coldplay, Bob Marley, like Tupac, like all sorts of others, right? Could you be loved and be loved? People are like, yeah, sing it, you dreadlock, pot smoking Rasta. You're like, man, that dude didn't sing that good. You never liked that dude. He's like, yep, but I love that dude, right? That sort of thing always kind of sells, right? And so anyway, so you had people who walk, think, talk with each other, nice to each other, speaker's corner, and then that evolved into posters and flyers and things like the committees of correspondence. People would write letters across the different states. This is how the American Revolution happened, right? They would put up posters. The British were in control of the U.S. colonies, and they were taxing people too much, and you had to quarter a soldier, which meant the soldier could live in your house, some nice, some raping your kids and wife, right? And so they got sick of this. So you might think the American Revolution happened it was like, that's it, we did nothing, and then now we're fighting. That wasn't how it happened. It was posters and flyers and something called the Committees of Correspondence that happened for 10 years before, right? And that was without today's modern communication tools. That was back in 1700s, right? And but they would put them up and this, and people would educate people on things, and people would learn about how what was going on, how people felt about it. They could talk about it, and they'd get inspired. And even then, it was only like 5% of America that really rebelled, but that was a lot of people, because America was big 13 colonies or whatever. But the rest were cool, right? The rest didn't stop them, right? Like the rest were like, no, don't say nothing, don't do nothing, nobody do anything, right? It wasn't that, right? It was, all right, you put up some posters and flyers or whatever around town in Boston or whatever, and guys are getting pretty sick, what's going on, and they see it, like, hey, or they start talking, they back channel it, they respect each other, talk to each other. They say, man, those British really like tea. It's like, yeah, man, let's throw that tea in the harbor. Man, screw that. We're going to let them know. We're going to send them a message. Stop screwing around. Right? And that is how that developed. Right? So, just talking about it, Apple Crate, Speaker's Corner, posters, flyers, committees of correspondence, magazines, and so on. And that brings us to today with the internet, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and so on, increasingly censored, right, online, increasing self-censorship, right? I've been trying to avoid a lot of these things, for a variety of reasons, because they do bad things to people, and then those people become people who've had bad things done to them, and then they become bad people, or people who act bad anyway, right? And by that I mean, shortened detention spans in some cases, or less ability to connect well, in the sense of being unique individuals, because online encourages a certain thought standardization, right? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and so on. So you're trying to aim to be the same, right? And that's also what's creating the corporate clones, or the zombies effect, where everyone's the same, right? Old man, young girl, kid, all worked up bothering people until you don't like them, and then worked up bothering strangers, and can't be near them comfortably, so they run near people and make them uncomfortable, right? And that's why it's all the same. And so you start, Twitter, twit, I'm old enough to remember what twit means, YouTube comments, tons of YouTube comments, but again, it's to nobody and everybody, right? It's not an individual, intelligent conversation between adults or young adults or kids who respect each other. It's very much, it's very different than that, right? It's sort of a, man, this sucks, Trudeau sucks, I can't believe all the corruption. Like, who are you talking to? Everybody, nobody. Right? Or snarky, bitchy blurts, right? When you sort of bitch about things. And this professional line, bitches in the media, making more bitches, you make more bitches, you make more bitches. And they do that to normal people. Some of them know, right? They know they shouldn't be getting their manties or panties in a bunch over a Trump tweet, just to show how bad they feel. and insist that other adults need to feel really bad and make other adults put up with them feeling really bad, when most of the time it's just them exaggerating how they feel to make us exaggerate how we feel and create that hysterical culture where people can't help each other. They can only make each other more messed up, right? And Facebook, right, where you start to see people self-censor more and just be crappier versions of themselves. It's like, man, the same dudes or girls I know, if we're hanging out and we're nice, polite Canadians who respect each other, then they're way more interesting. They're way more controversial. They're way more whatever, right? So you don't want to let the opposite happen, where the internet turns people into sort of the same corporate clones, just striving for a bit of sort of meaningless attention, and then they can't connect well individually, right? And that's how polite patriotism can expand the Overton window and save your country. Is nice, polite ladies and gents, something on their minds, realize they have to have self-respect, can't be a mess for themselves, kids, family, friends, others, right? They defend the West and polite Western European manners and standards that we all liked, because people like that. You might be like, no, the Africans want it like Africa. Indians want, the Muslims sometimes, some of them are like, yes, but, they shouldn't be allowed to do that and without a lot of check and balance to say no, right? The other ones don't, right? I've had brown relatives, from India. So I'm like, I ask them, because I liked India. It's not like here, though. It's very different, right? Culture's different, everything's different, smells different, dustier. It's not a bad place, and there are really nice people, but it's not here. Like, this is way nicer in terms of, certain things, and other things we fall back when it comes to the human element, with each other. But my point is that it's not like minorities here are like, no, this needs to be exactly like Beijing, or no, this needs to be exactly like the Congo, or no, this needs to be just like India. I want this to be like the slums of Mumbai, sand and dust blowing everywhere, beggars and goats on the street, and people this and that. So nice things too, of course, but that must be it. No, nobody wants that. Or, no, we need to make sure we're like corporate clones, robots, bump into people, spit on street, right? And certain parts of China are like that because of their communist government. They went from emperor to communism, right? And now they're sort of being raised up as the new world role model, supposedly by 2030, so we don't have much time to stop it, as a sort of perfect communist, capitalist, censored hybrid. You might get a Gucci bag, but you can't say shit because of the social credit scores, censorship, and so on, right? And slave camps and blah, blah, blah. And then everyone's supposed to copy that. That's why they're sort of being raised up in the public eye. And there's nationalism who's going, nope, they're not going to be the world role model, and we're all going to be proud nationalist countries. We're great places to live. We're aware of what's going on. No globalist control, central control. And then we're cool with each other, And so that's this sort of battle, nationalism versus globalism. And when it comes to that, you don't necessarily want this place, world famous, nice, polite Canadians, to be like that. But with this agenda, and it's a global agenda, globalist super rich people control international institutions, United Nations, World Bank, World Trade Organization, Davos, UNESCO, UN Education, Science, Culture Organization, trying to standardize that globally, right? Take down the West, bring up China as the world role model. Not because it's like, well, the Chinese are better. It's like, no, we created that to be a communist, capitalist, censored hybrid, don't say shit. We're making everybody else like that, right? Whereas we can free everybody. We can free Canada, America, China, there's a nationalist in Poland and America and others that are pushing against that. Canada, there's some, right? But we're one of the worst countries when it comes to that because we've been so soft, and we're supposed to be so fashionably soft that we have nothing to say and nothing to do, and then we just bother people with nothing, right? And yet, if we were polite patriots expanding the Overton window to save our country like anybody could anywhere, you wouldn't have that. So that's, the issue here when it comes to this. Here at 4:16 p.m., Wednesday, February 20th, 2019, downtown Toronto, Canada.